A lot of people may not know it, but Tiltmeters are actually where our company got its start. And today I want to walk you through how to choose the appropriate tiltmeter for your application. Hi, I'm Dr. John Leeman, the owner of Leeman Geophysical. Today I want to answer one of the most common questions we get in our support mailbox, which is how do I choose a tiltmeter for my particular application? So I've got a few of our more common tiltmeters in front of me, and we're going to go over the differences. The first thing that you need to choose is which tilt technology are you going to use? MEMS, which is micro electromechanical systems, or electrolytic. MEMS tiltmeters are based on etched circuits on very small pieces of silicon, and they allow us to have really pretty accurate tilt measurements, especially when we're using our differential MEMS technology. Now, MEMS tiltmeters, the ones here anyway, have a resolution of about 1.79 thousandths of a degree. So that's still a very small resolution, and it happens over a pretty large range. We have them available up to plus or minus 90 degrees. Most of the time you're looking at plus or minus 30 degrees, which is still a very large range for geophysical tilts or even environmental and geotech work, but they're not as accurate as an electrolytic sensor. So an electrolytic sensor uses pretty much a bubble level. It looks like a bubble in a bubble level that you would have at home to level pictures on the wall, except it's very accurate and it has electrical wires running through it, and we can measure the position of that bubble very accurately, which lets us have resolutions of down into the nanoradian range. So electrolytic tilt sensors are more temperature sensitive than MEMS. They're harder to build than MEMS. They have more complicated electronics than MEMS, and physically they're larger. So on the outer two instruments here, these are MEMS-based instruments, whereas the center instrument is an electrolytic-based instrument. We also generally give up some range with the electrolytic sensors. Now we do have electrolytic sensors that go to large ranges for electrolytics, say plus or minus 10 degrees, but the most common application we see when you choose electrolytics are you're getting down into those microradians or nanoradians, and you need a narrower range, say plus or minus 0.3 degrees, which is what this platform tiltmeter in the center is. So it's a much more accurate, but much smaller range instrument. So after you choose your technology, you need to choose how it's going to be deployed. Is it going to be deployed in a shallow post hole? You could use this MEMS shallow post hole instrument and drill a small hole with an auger on a drill or any other kind of augering tool, a hand auger even, and put this below ground and get your data that way. Or you can take our MEMS surface inclinometer and set it right on the surface or mount it on the surface if you're inside a structure and get readings that way. For electrolytic tilt, we have our surface tiltmeter, the PTM series, which can be buried, at least in a shallow pit. We see that pretty often to try to get away from temperature effects. But generally these are deployed on the surface or on a slab. So how you're going to deploy the instrument makes some difference into which instrument you're going to choose. We also have deep borehole instruments available. I don't have them here because they're quite large, but we can go down well into the kilometer range in depth in boreholes, even in geothermal environments, and give you very accurate tilt measurements. The third important consideration is how you're going to deal with the data from the instrument. So some of our instruments, like the MEMS inclinometer, have a built-in data logger and they log to an SD card right inside. All you need to do is provide power to the instrument and it logs that data. The post hole inclinometer that's MEMS based and our PTM series both send serial data out the cables and they need to go to an external logger. We have loggers available, or you can connect it to your own logger if you're already setting up a seismic station that has a spare serial channel. So you need to know how you're going to store that data or how you're going to get it off the instrument. If you need to telemeter that data, we also have options available for that, as well as can help you integrate with your existing telemetry system. The last major consideration we're going to talk about is the duration of deployment and everything that entails. If your tiltmeter is going to be out for a long time, you're going to need to make sure that it's secured in a very nice location where it's not going to go out of range over time or not be tampered with, and you can provide adequate power. If it's a short-term deployment and you value speed of deployment over maybe the accuracy of the instrument, then you can go with something like a MEMS surface inclinometer where you just connect a battery and everything's all set. All of the instruments are IP67 or better rated, so you don't really have to worry about them getting submerged in water or anything like that. But you do need to worry about things like protecting cables if they're going to be out for a long amount of time, or providing enough power. Generally, we recommend for the MEMS instruments, which pull a lot less power, at least a 5 or 6 watt solar system. 10 is better if you're going to be out with long periods of potentially bad weather. Or for the PTM, we generally recommend a 20 watt solar system for deployment. Now, we've got a lot more information in other videos on how to calculate the appropriate solar panel for your setup, so we're not going to go into that here. I hope that this overview has helped you understand some of the key factors that you're going to need to consider when choosing a tilt instrument, but we're always happy to help. If you can tell us some about your application, we can make our recommendation, but it helps if you come armed with the knowledge of whether you're interested in MEMS or electrolytic, what your field environment is, and what the resolution requirements are of your measurement. While you're here, don't forget to click like and subscribe so you can see more things from us, more free tutorials, more product releases, and more information about how we can help you do your science better.